when the lion kills the deer versus when the man kills the deer.
Non-vegan says that they are killing less life forms than a vegan.
But I have the choice. Which biological form do I kill for my physical sustenance?
Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to react to an Acharya Prashant video, so let's get started.
Why in nature all living beings are not vegetarian? Why does life eat life? If killing is evil, why do carnivores, lions and wolves exist at all? Please understand. It is not killing that is bad. Killing does not operate in a vacuum. The killer is the one in question. Who is killing? Who is killing? If the lion is killing, then it is one thing. But if man is killing, then it is a totally different thing. Do not say that the moot question is killing. No, the moot question relates to the killer, not killing per se. Is that clear? If you can understand this, then the rest of things will be very clear automatically. The thing is not so much about killing. It is much more about, actually only about the killer. So there is a difference when the lion kills the deer versus when the man kills the deer.
I just have a quick point here which I would like to share with you, and also let me know in the comment section what you think about this. So man killing a deer versus a lion killing a deer, and Acharya Prashant ji is saying that it's about the killer and not about the killing. But if we replace the victim with a human being, so it's one human killing another human, then is it about the killer, or is it about the killing, or is it about the person who's killed? So think about it and let me know in the comment section.
The lion kills the deer, the lion had no option. The lion is programmed to kill the deer, the lion kills the deer. The lion has no higher consciousness to attain by not killing the deer. The lion is not supposed to practice compassion. And if the lion will not kill the deer, the lion will die. The lion is almost like a machine. Will you say that your car is killing the fuel? But that's how it happens, no? You put fuel in the car, and what happens to the fuel? It is burnt, turned into smoke, gone, finished, killed. But do you call it violence? No. The relationship between the lion and the deer is a bit similar. None of them, rather neither of them, are creatures of consciousness. In that sense, they are more similar to machines. They do have consciousness, but their consciousness is lower with respect to man. When you take man as the benchmark, then both the lion and the deer are quite lowly in terms of consciousness.
So I think the consciousness that he's referring to here refers to what I would call, as an activist, moral framework, that humans have a moral framework to decide what's right or wrong, but a lion doesn't have the moral framework. On the point of violence, I would still say that a lion killing a deer is violence, because violence is supposed to be seen, in my opinion, from the perspective of the victim. And deer is subjected to violence because of lion's food. So just a thought there.
They are like machines because they operate in very, very pre-scripted ways. They are pre-programmed to do what they do. You don't have to teach the deer to eat grass. You don't have to teach the lion to not to eat grass and herbs. If you give meat to the deer will simply walk away. If you give grass to the lion will simply walk away. It's not a matter of ideology. It's not a matter of teaching or training. It is designed like that. It is a machine.
It is essentially what I was referring to, that humans have a moral framework, and also what he's saying that the animals are designed in that way. I think it's to do with the nature versus nurture aspect, that in humans, we have a very high capacity to nurture ourselves or mold ourselves into a certain personality, but when it comes to these animals, they are more nature and instinct oriented.
So machines, therefore, obviously, cannot be called as evil. It would be stupid to call a machine evil. It would be equally stupid to call a machine virtuous.
And just a quick point to all the animal advocates, while he is addressing this to a certain group of individuals who are seeking to improve themselves in life, but if you are going about advocating for animals on street or to random folks, please do not use the term machine. It will not land correctly and will go against your message. So try to talk in a way where you are compassionate towards animals. At least that is how the perception should be.
Now come to man. Man has consciousness. Man has decision-making ability. If man compares himself to a lion or a wolf, then he is debasing himself. Is he not? You are a man, you are a creature of high consciousness. Why do you want to follow the dietary pattern of a wolf, which is a creature of a low consciousness? So man has choice. Therefore, man has to practice compassion for his own sake. Man has to ask himself, is it the only way possible to feed my stomach? Do I really have to kill consciousness to sustain consciousness? And even if I have to kill consciousness to sustain consciousness, does it have to be an animal which has a relatively higher level of consciousness compared to grass? Man is conscious, animal is conscious, and the grass is conscious. All three are conscious, right? But man's consciousness is extremely high, and it has the potential to go even higher, greatly higher. So man is conscious. The animal is conscious. The animal is conscious is an in-between kind of consciousness. The grass too is conscious. The grass's consciousness is very lowly, very basic. So if the man's body is designed in a way that it has to have food, and food will necessarily involve killing. You're very right. As you said, life eats life. You're very right that for one biological form to survive, it has to consume another biological form. But I have the choice. Which biological form do I kill for my physical sustenance? This or this? This is animal and this is grass. Given the choice, I will choose not to kill a relatively higher form of consciousness. And in this, I fully admit that even when I am eating the grass or the radish or the apple, violence is still involved. But I'm helpless. If I have to avoid even that level of violence, then I have to commit suicide. Or I shouldn't have been born. If the body is to be sustained, then the minimum level of killing has to happen. But what's important is the word minimum. Keep it to the minimum, keep it to the minimum. It's not a matter of absolutes, it's not in binaries. You cannot say that I will not kill a living being at all. If you will not kill a living being at all, you won't survive. Simple. And anyway, living beings are getting killed in your throat, in your gut, on your skin, every moment. Even as you inhale, you take in so many microbes. And they're all getting killed. You don't even know, you take in a fizzy drink and you do not know what kind of a slaughter it has done in your alimentary canal from here till there. But that's the minimum. What do I do? What do I do? Even as I step on the floor, something is getting killed. I cannot avoid it. But I should avoid what is avoidable. Killing an animal is avoidable. I should avoid it. By saying that, I'm not at all saying that I am not guilty of killing at all. Even the purest vegetarian or vegan is committing some level of killing. But he can be exonerated if that killing has been kept to a minimum. That's the word, minimum.
Okay, so here I have to say a few things. And once again, the premise for this is that he is talking to people who are ready to spiritually uplift them and be on a path of growth, if I may put it that way. But when we talk about veganism as a social justice movement, and especially when we're advocating for animals as activists, I think the language becomes really important. The words that we choose become very important. And if, let's say, we go on a discussion with someone and tell them, hey, you don't eat hens or goats, but even I acknowledge that I'm guilty of killing plants, I don't think that is going to be the right way to put it. So let's look at it from a justice framework, that while we can always discuss the consciousness of humans versus animals versus plants, and the plants' ability to think or plants' intelligence is at the lowest, and then animals and then humans and so on and so forth. But I think one key aspect that we should always consider, which is also based on science, is that of sentience. That humans are sentient beings, most animals are sentient beings, and we as vegans are saying that all sentient beings should be respected, not to be treated as a commodity for use or abuse. And that is a very key differentiator. And because there is sentience, there is the interest of the sentient being to not to be abused by anyone else. And hence to do that is a rights violation. While at a spiritual level, when we talk about consciousness, then I agree that we should be respectful of all living beings. Forget about just living beings, we should also be respectful about non-living beings, for example, our rivers and mountains and environment and so on and so forth. And we should all try to improve and try to reduce our footprint as much as possible, probably move towards minimalism. I get that. But that being said, killing a hen and killing a plant, one key difference, even though they can be categorized as violence as per Acharya Prashant ji's definition, but one place where there's a huge, stark difference between the two is that of rights violation. There is no philosophical or scientific method of saying that it's a rights violation that we perform on plants when we consume fruits and vegetables. But when we are killing a hen, when we are killing a goat or any other animal, that, or for that matter even a human, that is a rights violation. So please use this vocabulary, especially when you are advocating for animals in a neutral setting.
Keep it to a minimum. Keep it to a level that is unavoidable. You should say, this level, beyond this level, sir, I couldn't have gone. And if I need to go beyond this level, then I just need to give up the body.
And even in keep it to minimum, again, of course, he talked about that animals have higher consciousness and plants have lower consciousness. But if anyone subscribes to this idea that we should keep it to a minimum, and someone gets into the utility calculus of how many life forms one is killing versus another, then there can be a case where a non-vegan says that they are killing less life forms than a vegan. Just a hypothetical example which I'll create to drive the point, that imagine a non-vegan who is, let's say, 5 feet tall, weighs around 50-60 kgs, less than 60 kgs, and consumes probably 1500 or lesser calories a day, and kills one animal per month, and that too, let's say, by hunting. And let's say there's another person who's a vegan, who's 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighs probably 110 kgs, and consumes 3500 calories on a daily basis, a lot of which is processed food, which is to say that more resources go into creating that food. And if one gets down to do a utility calculus of how many life form one has killed, then there can be cases where someone who is a non-vegan is probably killing lesser life forms, if we have to put it that way. But veganism is not about this type of calculation. We have to see the rights violation, and that has to be seen from the perspective of the victim, from the perspective of an individual. So that is a very important point to note.
When you kill to eat, don't you have an option as human beings? The lion does not have an option. If you have an option, why don't you exercise it? You have to answer.
That is a very fair point.
You have to answer. And science is totally out on this. There are no secrets left. When you eat flesh, you are doing great damage to even your own biological system. And you are doing great damage to this entire ecosystem. And still you are hell-bent on killing. You are doing damage to both your consciousness as well as your body. And needless to say, to the environment, ecosystem, we have talked in detail on how flesh consumption is related to climate change. You still want to kill. I can only squirm in pain.
So what do you have to say about this video? Let me know in the comment section. At a broad level, I agree with his message, more or less, but then the nuances matters, right? Specifically when we are advocating for someone, and that is where the definition of veganism as a social justice movement to emancipate animals from human exploitation, to reject the commodity status of animals, that is very important. And I hope that when you talk to people, you identify your audience correctly and see the kind of language that you want to pick up and the way you want to communicate your message. So that's it from my end, and until we meet again, this is Shivam signing out.